What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Sacred Jedi Texts, and today we're going to be jumping into Chapter 23 of Timothy Zahn's Heir to the Empire. Chapter 22, we saw that Han and Lando are meeting with Card. Thrawn got in contact with Card and wants to come down to Murker to actually meet with Card. He wants some more Salamiri. Luke escaped, and Mara Jade is chasing after him. I'm just going to go ahead and jump right into Chapter 23. Thank you for watching. Make sure you subscribe and leave a like on the video. So Chapter 3 starts out in Luke's point of view. He is flying the Skip Ray blast boat that he stole over the forests of Murker with Mara Jade hot on his trail. Luke knows that he's in danger. At this point, he's looked up, he's seen the Chimera, it's overhead, and he can't really fly the blast boat as good as Mara can. He's not really familiar with it. He's never flown one of those before. So he's flying across the top of the forest, trying to stay as low as he can, because the trees there on Murker have metallic content in them, so they're able to scramble sensors from ships. So if he stays kind of low in the forest, like towards the top, the treetops, just right above them, the Chimera can't pick up his signal. They can't really trace him through any kind of radar. So Luke he continues flying, and he's trying to stay so low that he scrapes the bottom of the ship across the treetops, and he sees that Mara's getting closer to him. So he tries to pull a maneuver. However, as he goes to execute this maneuver, the fighter spins out of control and Luke goes into total darkness. Then the point of view switches over to Card's. We weren't with Luke for very long, but we'll come back to him in a minute. The Imperial convoy is coming down, and there are 3 ships that land, 3 shuttles. Stormtroopers begin piling out of all 3 of them, and Card thinks that Thrawn has to be in the middle ship. You know, you're going to have a shuttle in the middle and 2 on each side, kind of working as protection. In typical Thrawn fashion, though, he surprises Card and emerges from the ship on the right side, along Rook. After Thrawn and Card greet one another, Thrawn tells Card that he saw the commotion over to the west, which was obviously Luke and Mara's chase, and he asks Card to tell him about that. Card comes up with the excuse that one of their own members went rogue and stole a ship, trying to steal some of their supplies. Card then says that it's being handled and that one of his people is in pursuit. Thrawn then corrects him and says that the other person was in pursuit, but that the second ship crashed too. So Card's now worried because the ship that also crashed was obviously Mara, and so now Luke and Mara have both crashed, so that presents its own problem. Thrawn tells Card that the first ship tried to pull the maneuver and they crashed, and the second was too close and got caught in the first slipstream. Thrawn then orders a group of stormtroopers to go and find the wreckage, and when Card says that that's not necessary, Thrawn says that it can be repayment for letting them get more Salamiri. However, we as the reader can tell what Thrawn is really up to. It's pretty clear that he's suspicious about whatever's going on, and he just wants to know more about it. So Card hopes that Mara can get things under control before the Imperials arrive to their location and compromise this entire plan that they've had all along. The point of view then switches over to Hans for a little bit. He and Lando are lying in the grass close by with Ghent, who was supposed to be keeping them on board the Falcon. Han and Lando are trying to hear anything they can and assess the situation. They see it's the Empire and stuff like that. And they notice one of the Imperial shuttles take off toward the blast boat wreckage. Ghent mistakenly reveals that it could have been the prisoner escaped, which surprised Han and Lando because Card isn't really known for taking prisoners. So they're even more on edge now. Han then says that Card isn't supposed to be dealing with kidnappers either, but it seems as though things have changed now that the Empire is there. Ghent is confused, which causes Han to point out Rook to him and tell him that Rook's kind, the Nagri, are who tried to kidnap he and Leia. Han then asks Ghent who the prisoner was, but Ghent said he doesn't know. He, along with all of other Card's men, they were instructed not to go near Luke and ask any questions about him. So Han is then worried about how they moved the prisoner out of the barracks and says that it could mean the stormtroopers will be staying a while. Ghent says that Card didn't say anything about that and didn't agree to let them stay, and Lando points out that he was once on the wrong end of a bargain with the Empire, and if they want to do something, they're just going to do it. The 3 then see the Imperials and Card head for indoors, and Han asks Ghent who the man with the blue eyes is. Ghent says that he doesn't know, but that he doesn't know his name, but that he does know that he's a Grand Admiral. Han and Lando look at each other with worry and surprise on their faces. Han says that it's no wonder the Empire has been a thorn in their side lately, if a Grand Admiral has been behind everything. They agree to go back to the Falcon, and Lando asks if Han has any data on board about Grand Admirals. Han says no, but that Coruscant does, and that they need to get their information back to the New Republic as quickly as they can. Lando says that he hopes they'll live long enough to do that, and Han says that they will, even if they have to blast their way out of Merkur with the Falcon. The chapter then switches back over to Luke's point of view. He is just awoken from the crash, and he's in pretty bad shape. However, the ship's safety equipment saved both him and R2 from serious injury. When he gets R2 out and checks him over, he sees he's got a couple bumps. He brings R2 outside, and Luke sees Mara's ship right beside his, also crashed and in really rough shape. After debating for a moment, Luke decides to go over and check on her at least, just to make sure that, she's okay, because that's just the kind of person Luke is. When he gets inside her ship, he sees her in the cockpit, but after turning around for just a split second, he turns back toward her and he sees her holding a blaster to him. She tells him that she knew he'd come check on her, and he asks if she's hurt. She says it isn't any of his business, and she orders him to grab a case of medical supplies and then tells him to get R2 and get off the ship. When they hit the ground, Mara is obviously contemplating killing Luke again, and Luke knows it this time. Then, all of a sudden, Mara looks terrified and screams at Luke to move, to run into the forest as fast as he can. The two run for a few meters, and then she says to grab R2 and hit the ground. When Luke does so, he looks around and he sees exactly why she ordered them into the forest. The Imperial shuttle that was sent after them was now directly overhead of the fighters that had just crashed, and it's ready to touch down at any second. After the shuttle touches down, Luke sees stormtroopers file out and start searching the two downed ships. He thinks this could be Mara's chance to hand him over to the Empire, but notices that she's trying to hide from him just as much as he is. He then thinks that he may be better off with the stormtroopers, so that he can at least have the Force back. However, Mara can sense that he is thinking of doing something rash, and she pushes her blaster into the side of his head and tells him not to do anything. Moments later, the stormtroopers retreat back into their shuttle after they can't really find anything, and it flies off back toward Karrde's main base. Mara then instructs Luke to go deeper into the forest. She says that she has to hold him out there until she can get in touch with Karrde, but that will be nearly impossible since the Imperials are probably listening to all of Karrde's comms and would definitely pick up on what's going on if she were to radio back to him. Mara uses the case from the ship that she told Luke to grab to start searching for something. She then tells Luke that it's 3 days to the edge of the forest, and once they get there, they'll be in Hilliard City, the nearest civilization. Luke then asks how many of them will be going there, knowing that Mara is still contemplating killing him. She then asks why she should take him along, and Luke says that they both need R2. She tells Luke not to be silly, that even if she does take him, R2 is going to be left there in pieces. Luke tries to convince her that R2's scanners can detect creatures, and that he can watch while they sleep, and that he'll be very valuable with them, but she's just not buying it at all. Luke then comes up with another idea and says that R2 can send an encrypted message through Luke's X-Wing to Karrde, one that the Imperials won't be able to crack or read for some time. Mara reluctantly agrees to let R2 do this, and she tells Luke that she has dreamed of killing him for a long time. He asks what he did to her, and at this point you're just hoping that she finally reveals everything, but she doesn't give specifics and just tells him that he destroyed her life and that she's going to find a lot of satisfaction in killing him. Mara then asks how R2 is going to get through the forest with them, and Luke says that he can cut down some tree branches and make a dragging frame to pull R2 across with. He then asks Mara for his lightsaber, which she still has attached to her belt, so that he can cut some of those branches and build one. But Mara says that she will do it, and Luke tells himself that getting his lightsaber back, it was at least worth a try. Mara easily slices through the branches, and Luke can tell that she's used a lightsaber before. She tells him that she knows how to use one and to not even think about going for her blaster, and then she instructs him to start building the dragging frame so that they can find a clearing to send the signal up, something that she wants to get done before nightfall. So that marks the end of Chapter 23. Like Chapter 22, it was another action-packed chapter, a lot of stuff going on. Tensions are getting higher and higher, and in Chapter 24, we're just going to move right along, which will be the next video. We'll go see things from Han's point of view. We get to see some stuff from Peleon's point of view, and see what the Empire thinks of all of this commotion going on there with Karrde on Myrkr. But I will see you in the next video. I thank you so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe, leave a like on the video, and keep reading Star Wars.